Hey everybody, welcome to another book review. This is All the Things, and today we're talking about an old classic, which is The Hobbit. So, this, I want to say first off, I think I'm transitioning into digital texts to like save space and stuff. So, I think I'm going to be showing titles, but I did read the book. See, it's a real book in here. There's like words and stuff. But, this book I liked a lot. It's a very simple story, I think. And by simple, I mean it doesn't really confuse you too much. I've read a lot of stories. There's a book I'm reading right now, Diaspora. There's a book that I've read, Gravity's Rainbow, that are just confusing. This book you can follow along pretty easily. But one of the things that I was really surprised about is this is the prerequisite or the prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So The Hobbit is the story before the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it's the story of Frodo, the main character in Lord of the Rings, his uncle, and his adventures before Frodo makes his adventures in the Lord of the Rings. And both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were made into films. And if you watch the Hobbit film, there are a lot of elements that go into this movie that are also in the book, but the book storyline is significantly different than the movie storyline. And I would say that I enjoyed, I think, the book more. It made a little more sense, and I think as a story, I think it worked better, but that's my opinion. And so if you've seen the movie and you're like, I don't really need to read the book, I'd say read the book because it's not a hard read. You can read it pretty quick. It's a good story, and it is a different story. Like if you watch the movie and you're reading through the book, you might be like, "Oh, that's a little different," or "Oh, that makes more sense." But that being said, I did like the movie series. It was a trilogy, so it was a lot of movie to watch. But good movie series. We're not talking about the movie. We are here to talk about this book right here. So basically, it's a story of what is Frodo's uncle's name? I just read the whole book, and his name is Bilbo Baggins. There you go. It's a story of Bilbo and his adventures through Middle Earth, and it's a pretty, I think, well-known story because Lord of the Rings is so popular. But if you don't know it, I don't want to spoil it for you. Um, but I'd say has good elements. You could read this to your kids at night and like read it like a chapter a night or something like that, because even though there are some things that die, it's done in a way where like anybody can read it, anybody can have a good experience out of it, and it's not very adult. It's done in a way that you can have anybody experience it, which I think is a cool element to this story. And then it also turns into a movie, which is not exactly the same, but if you read the book to your kids, then watching the movie after might be a cool experience. I really like this book because I'm a super big Lord of the Rings fan, and I never read the books, and so I started with the Silmarillion. I gotta check if I did a book review on that. If I haven't, then I gotta do a book review on that. But that book was excellent. It's like the major history of Middle Earth. It's like a textbook kind of thing. Then I'm going in The Hobbit, and then next is Lord of the Rings. But I figured I'd read the book since I like the story so much from the movies, and I'm glad I did. I got a lot out of it, and honestly, this is like, it's a cool book to read because I think a lot of people are familiar with the story, and it may give you something to talk about with other people, but it just shows kind of the reluctant journey of somebody who is kind of a homebody and likes to do domestic stuff, kind of thrust out into the real world on the trail of adventure, and how they deal with it. So I think it's got some magic in it, it's got some adventure in it, it's got friendship, all the like main stuff for a feel-good story, and I think this is a really good book to like read to really young kids, or read with your slightly older kids if they can read on their own. So maybe you guys are both reading it at the same time and you guys talk about it. I think that would be like super cool. But there's not much to say about this book because I think it's so well known, and I'm making this review because I make a review about every book I read that I remember to make a review about. But I recommend this book. It's an easy book to read. There's no really difficult verbiage in it, except for maybe like elf names or something like that. But yeah, I think every once in a while you should read a book that's not like, for me, like super philosophical or all about textbooks and stuff. And so this was like a fun storybook to read, and I recommend it. So it's very well known. The movie form is different, but it's available in movie, it's available in audiobook, it's available printed text, and it's available digital. So any way that you like to read books, read this book, and I think you won't be disappointed. But it's The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It is the prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and part of that whole Lord of the Rings universe, which is a lot bigger than just the Lord of the Rings movies if you dig into it. And I think it helps give you an appreciation more for that story. Every time I do something different with this story, like if I play a video game that's based on Lord of the Rings, if I read a book like the Silmarillion or the Silmarillion, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. If I read The Hobbit, if I watch the cartoon version of The Hobbit, there's even like an old cartoon version movie of The Hobbit that's pretty good. The Hobbit video game was pretty good. This book was good. The newer Hobbit movies are good. And it kind of just gives you these different perspectives and this different take on the same story, and helps, I guess, make it more interesting. So this was a good addition to that universe that's building in my head, and I hope you get a chance to read it. I hope you like it, and this is kind of a short and sweet book review for a short and sweet book. But this has been All the Things. The book is The Hobbit, and if you read it, I hope you like it. If you don't, okay. But if you have any comments about it, I'd love to maybe answer questions or start a conversation. That's kind of why I do these book reviews. So let me know what you think. Anyways, this is All the Things. Do another book review, and I'll see you guys later.